Good afternoon. We'll call the meeting to order. Today's meeting is being streamed live via the Township of Addington Highlands YouTube channel. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of the live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001 and in accordance with the Ontario Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection and Privacy Act, that all information provided for or at a public meeting / consultation or other public process are considered part of the public record. Members of council staff, delegations, and attendees should be mindful of using names of individuals or entities when discussing matters in public. Attendees are advised that you may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. As per the Township's procedure bylaw as amended, all votes during electronic meetings will be recorded votes. All of council is present in the council chambers. Thank you. So prior to proceeding with the regular business, we will be having a moment of silence and some words of tribute to Henry. So let's please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. So we have an opportunity to say a few words about Henry, and I'll start and we'll just go around the table. It's for members of council and staff that are present. If you wish to say something, please do so. And I will start first. So it is with heavy hearts that we acknowledge the passing of Henry Hogg. Henry was a landmark, a cornerstone, a politician, a friend and leader. He was always there. His commitment to serving our community was an inspiration to all. His desire for Addington Highlands to be a strong, viable, and healthy community was the foundation for all his work. His care for our community, for his fellow politicians, and for all of our township staff was both observed and felt. His service spanning 4 decades is an outstanding achievement. It was an honor and privilege to know him, and he will be greatly missed. Sincerest condolences to his wife Louise, daughters Sharon and Valerie, and his extended family and friends. So you can go ahead.
I'd just like to say, with Henry a long time, and he was a funny guy at times, but he also had a knack of. I know in some situations I sometimes got a little hot, and he had a way of circumventing it without making everybody aware that he's telling me to, just reel it in a little bit. So he was very good at that. He had a funny sense of humor.
Some of my fondest memories of Henry is when back in the early 2000s, when he was Reeve. He was Reeve most of the time. I was his deputy, and we would drive down to county council together on those long nights, and Tony knows all about that. We talked about township stuff, county stuff, we talked a lot about people, and I was amazed that Henry knew everyone. And he said at one time, he said, I got something on everybody. And I said, do you have anything on me? Yep. And he wouldn't tell me what it was, but I don't know what it was. But that was, we enjoyed the humor that, we had back and forth. We shared also that we both at the time had just, we both had small businesses. He had Pinecrest Marine and the North Addington bus lines, and my wife and I had Flincher Farms. We just retired from that. So we talked about that kind of stuff, the challenges of business. So I think I'm going to remember Henry that he was an extremely honest person, very fair. When we talked about doing something for a lake association or a recreation club, he always in the back of mind, while we do that, we have to be fair with the other one. That level of fairness was, I think, very strong for Henry, um, and the level of integrity he had as well. So I think those qualities has rubbed off on council and will continue to be that way as we go on from Henry. So thank you.
Yes, Henry was Henry. I think we all have our own little quips and stories about Henry, and he was a great reeve. He didn't try to get our decision, help us make our decisions as a council, as counselors. We know that he was there, and we made a decision whether he agreed with it or disagreed with it. But at the end of the day, that was the decision. And I always found that very comforting in a way, that he wasn't out, broadcasting, well, I didn't agree with this, which you see in some municipalities. But I've known Henry for many, many years. My children went to school at North Addington, and he was a bus driver on many volleyball tournaments and basketball tournaments and whatever, and lots of little stories that I heard. So he was a down-to-earth guy. He was really good. He was a businessman with great work ethic. He loved municipal politics and was a dedicated public servant. He listened to the residents of Addington Highlands with their ideas, and he listened to council as well. Henry's memory was long. His memory was long, but it was in a good way. He didn't he didn't say bad things about anyone. He often jovial quipped about past encounters with people in his business days and his early council days. He loved to tell how things happened in Addington Highlands, like he had, some little story about, oh, I remember this. Henry could appear as a no-nonsense kind of guy when you first met him. But when you got to know him, you could see the mischievous smile appear. Henry was a kind man and didn't like to see anyone go without. And I think that's what's lost sometimes is, as counselors in Reeves, even though we know each other fairly well, some of us maybe better than others just because where we live or whatever, but it's you're close, but you're not close. But these were the things that I remember about him and thinking about what he does, that he wanted to make sure everybody in our township was looked after. Anyway, he was a mentor to those who sat on county council with him. I was on county council for a couple of terms with Henry, and he certainly helped me understand the workings of county council. Um, and later on, we had quite a turmoil here with the wind turbine situation. And I could see that Henry was really, we were all, it was a real difficult time for all of us. But I could see that Henry's health was starting to take a little bit of a turn there. And it was not good. But he weathered the storm, and we all did, and we're all better for it. I think we're all much more aware of how things could be in our township. So anyway, I would just like to give my condolences to Louise and his girls. And I thank you for the time I've had with Henry. It's been a great ride.
Thank you. On behalf of myself and the staff who are unable to speak today, I would like to extend my heartfelt condolences to Louise, Sharon, and Valerie on the passing of their husband and dad. He gave so much of his time to this community, and his contribution will never be forgotten. To all of council, you have worked alongside Reeve Hogg for many years, and I know that you are all feeling his loss as deeply as I. Please accept my condolences on the loss of your colleague and friend. I was fortunate to start my career under Reeve Hogg's guidance that continued right up until his passing. He was kind, patient, a wealth of information, and he could be relied upon to provide historical context to every matter. He was a steadfast leader and will definitely be missed.
Henry probably would have known how to turn that on before I started to talk. I first remember meeting Henry at NAEC. I was a student, and I remember him driving the bus for class trips and sporting events, just like Helen and her girls. Sharon was in my grade, and Valerie was a little younger. Henry never said much on the bus, but when he did say something, you listened. So you learn that quickly. In the workplace, Henry was very welcoming when I came to work at Addington Highlands. He always asked questions if he had a concern, and he listened to my answer before he developed his opinion. I really appreciate the way that he did that and valued his comments when he gave them. Henry's going to be missed by the community, and on behalf of my family, we'd like to express our deepest condolences to Louise, Sharon, and Valerie.
Reeve Hogg, or Henry as we knew him, has been here since the start of my career 17 years ago. He's been a steady, dedicated leader with a wealth of knowledge who has always been easy to approach. I've had the benefit of listening to the history of some of the decisions that got us to where we are today, and I will miss that resource of knowledge. Not only have I known Henry for the past 17 years, I've known him for all of my adult life and most of my childhood as well. He and Louise were my bus drivers, and I'd seen his daughters every day on the bus while I went to North Addington. We talked of those times as well and enjoyed some laughs, and it was apparent that Henry enjoyed getting to know people, whether it was the students on the bus, the people at the marina, or the residents of the municipality, the staff at the township or the county. He enjoyed people. Henry's contribution to this township, in my opinion, has been extraordinary, and I respected him greatly. I believe he can rest easy knowing he did a job well done. He is going to be missed. Our sincerest condolences to Louise, Sharon, and Valerie from myself and my family, and I thank them for sharing Henry with us. Thank you.
Do I watch what I say here? Because I'll speak to Henry first, and then I'll speak to Reeve Hogg. Henry, I first worked with or dealt with him when he was a bus driver, and we had lots of fun trips to Napanee for driver's ed classes and things. And yes, he did have a comic side to him, and he was quite a joker when he was in that role. And then as head of council, he had a different personality that he took the role of whatever job he was doing at the time and was very professional, very respectful of people. He's been an honor to work for. And I would like to thank his family as well for sharing him with the community, the things and the time that Henry put into this community that people don't know about. We could spend all afternoon talking about them.
Well, I've been working here for close to 7 years now, and I always remember being a little apprehensive when I first met Henry. One of his first statements was, we'll have the new CBO take care of that as soon as we hire him. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. But to me, Henry was the calm in the eye of the storm, always positive. I I never saw much negativity in Henry. He was always there, always right behind you. He would say to me from time to time, "Well, what are you going to do? Well, what are you going to do?" And it was kind of a reassurance that I got from that, it'll be okay, and I can remember every once in a while we'd get into some discussions and engineering would come up. And of course, Henry was an engineer. And he waved that little pinky finger. He'd look at me and he'd wave it, And for the first time he did it, I looked like, oh, he's a full-fledged engineer. And I would look at that and I would go, oh, and we had great conversations after that about, he was a mechanical engineer, and I'm a farmer. He worked for Cockshot, developing machinery and whatnot and so forth. So we had a lot of, good back and forth on situations like that. But yeah, what a positive man, a great leader, the kind of leader that every community should have. So, and I'm sure God's looking after Henry, and my condolences to his family. What a wonderful, wonderful legacy in man.
Thank you, everyone. Some very heartfelt comments. Yeah. And certainly his memory of Henry and the legend of Henry will live on. Okay. First item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Councillor Yanch, seconded by Councillor Thompson. I guess we'll call for a vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Councillor Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Thank you. Next item is adoption of the minutes of our regular meeting, October the 7th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Hook. Any errors, omissions? None noted. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Councillor Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
That motion is carried. Guess there's no business arising from the minutes. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. None noted. Delegations and petitions from the Scutamata District Ratepayers Association. Marianne Plum. You can feel free to, and who's with you, Marianne? You'll introduce them? Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Deputy Reeve Fritsch, councillors, staff. My name is Marianne Plum. I'm president of the SDRA, and I brought with me my colleague, Jeff Miller, who is vice president of the SDRA. Thank you for having us today. We really appreciate it. We have prepared a presentation. However, the best part of this is we'll use the presentation to guide our discussion, but really we would like it to be more of a two-way discussion. So I want you to feel free to jump in with comments as we move along. And hopefully we'll have a little time at the end for questions. So are we on the slide there? Okay. So let's move to the, okay, perfect, thank you. It's a little disorienting. We are connected, the SDRA and the Township of Addington Highlands, we are connected by a common purpose. And I only need to look at the official plan to see two very important goals and objectives: the protection of the environment, and in particular, the water bodies, and the wise management of water bodies and wildlife to provide social and economic benefits. We share these goals and we are passionate about these goals too. Unfortunately, we are dealing with an invasive species that is detrimental to everything that we're trying to protect. When you think about Eurasian water milfoil, it can degrade water quality. It can upset the native species diversity in our lakes. It could reduce oxygen levels. It can alter fishing habitats, and it forms massive weed mats, which can impact our recreational enjoyment, whether that be fishing, boating, or swimming. Left unchecked, it can be even more severe and can degrade the economic value in our communities. It can impact tourism. It can cause us to invest massive amounts of money to control it. And in severe cases, it can impact waterfront property values. So there really is an importance around us working together to combat this invasive species. But we have an opportunity to fight this together. Early intervention, a rigorous program to address this species, regular education, communication, and enforcement is important. Collaboration with partners who can help us and strong community engagement are shown to be critical to long-term success. Working together, we can shape the long-term outcome. So we have a couple of things we'd like to talk to council about today. 4 things, actually. The first one is to thank Addington Highlands for their support so far. So last fall, I came before council and asked for your help and support in applying for an invasive species grant. And you were very quick to step up and say, yes, we can help. And we appreciate that. We thank you for that. So at the time, I was asked a question. I remember this as clear as it was yesterday. I was asked, so what are you going to do if you don't get the grant? Important question. So somewhat bravely and very naively, I said, well, we're going to find a way to self-fund it because this work is important and we have to do it. So we're here to tell you about the conclusion of this story and share with you the self-funded model and the achievements that we have under our belt from the first year. And we'll share that with you. I also said that collaboration with partners who can help is important. And we've been doing some work on that. And so we'll share that with you as well, who we're working with and what we hope to achieve together. And last but not least, we're here to ask for your help and partnership in protecting our lakes in the next phase. Okay, we can move slide. So to give council a little bit more information on this Eurasian water milfoil, it was first discovered in Scutamata Lake in 2023. And during 2024, we mapped the colonies in the lake. And you can see there are bubbles on this map. We currently are aware of 8 colonies, which have grown to in excess of 4,000 square meters. These are big patches. 2 of them that are marked in yellow on this slide are the ones that we've cordoned off and are trying to keep boat traffic out of. But as you can see, we still have an awful lot of work to do. In addition to these colonies, there are literally hundreds of small patches and individual plants, which we've been working on, and Jeff will talk more about that. So yes, we were not successful in getting the grant, but our work has continued, and we'd like to share that with you. On the next slide, if you look at the bottom of the slide, and it's tiny, so you likely can't read it, but we'll take you through it in detail. This was the original grant application budget. Now, the Invasive Species Center does not consider EWM to be a priority species, so the grant was capped at $3,500. And Patricia will know because she was helpful in dialing through it with me to see what we needed to do. We had to more than match the 3,300 and change that we were asking for with more cash and in-kind donations. So the SDRA also contributed into the grant application about $2,500. And our partners, Addington Highlands Township and a couple of others, along with a massive amount of volunteer hours from our members, we contributed $5,000 in-kind contributions. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. So we were faced with the promise I made. How are we going to fund this? So we created the Lake Stewardship Fund. We introduced the fund at our AGM back in July, and we featured it at every event that we held this summer. And I'm pleased to say that our members really came through. We collected more than $1,200 in cash to support the fund, but just as importantly, in fact, maybe even more importantly, our members donated materials that would be very expensive to buy: cinder blocks, fishing nets, and hundreds of volunteer hours. So that was really important in terms of us being able to do what we needed to do. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeff so he can take you through the detail on some of these things and what we accomplished in the last year.
Great, thank you. And thanks very much to the council for letting us be here today. We appreciate it. We didn't get the grant, as Marianne said, but we did put a lot of effort into this, and it really became a big community piece, which was terrific. We used a multi-layered approach to our work. The first was centered around awareness and prevention. The second was then slowing the spread for the milfoil that was in the lake already, manual removal in those areas that have not moved beyond our ability to do so, and then also started to focus on a long-term plan. So what are we going to do when we've reached the end of all of our current limits, which we know is likely to be happening? So on the awareness and prevention side, first of all, a shout out to Addington Highlands and Quinte Conservation. You donated the boat washing station for us on the week of July 5th. So we had it down at our main boat launch at Trails End. We had volunteers from the association and also around the lake that were there on site with the boat washing station on the key hours of the day when boats were coming into the lake and when they were leaving the lake. Purposely interrupted every single one of them, talked to them, asked them what they knew about milfoil, asked them where they were coming from, asked them whether or not we could wash their boats for them. A number of them said yes, and a number of those boats that were entering the lake, we actually cleared weeds and other debris out of their boats before they launched. So there's no question that there is lots of this stuff getting brought in into our lake. We also, the timing was perfect because our AGM was on the Saturday, July 5th, a nice busy weekend. So we had the boat station brought out in front of the hall in Cloyne, and it sat there for most of the day for people that were driving by and everywhere else to see it. So it worked as a really good awareness. It's a perfect type of thing for something like a bass opening weekend. You know, when you can't get a single parking spot on any of the launches around the lake, that's the time to really kind of bring that awareness up. The other things we did on the awareness side, you'll see up in the corner of that photo, a nice bright yellow and red sign. We installed milfoil signs at every location, and it expresses obviously that we have this and asking people to stay out of these areas. And then we installed, as Marianne said, we cordoned off two of the major colonies that we have in the lake, one in the lower lake, one in the upper lake. And so the attempt there was to connect the sign to the lake and keep people out of it. People were still in it on occasion, and lots of us fish the lake and, you know, don't have a problem going up and asking people, by the way, do you know what these are for? Do you know what they're about? And a lot of them would say, yeah, we think there's something in here. They didn't know what it was. And so they're not seeing enough of the signage, which just means that our awareness and prevention has to significantly increase, particularly because our captive audience is our association members, which are about 2/3 of the people on the lake. But we're not touching visitors enough, and we're not touching people that aren't members of the association. So we need to really help continue to move that up. The next phase of work was around manual removal. So there are hundreds of locations where there is a single plant or a small grouping of plants. All of these have the potential of becoming unworkable colonies in an extremely short amount of time. So our lake steward, Duncan Armstrong, held some EWM training sessions for our members. And he went and got all the permits that were needed for us to be able to work on removal. And he designed a specific tool that actually is not available in the market that we use because it has a way of capturing as much of the weed as possible. The reality is if you pull this weed and any piece of it comes off, it is probably going to form another plant. So you have to capture every ounce of it or you're not actually helping yourself. We also had Queenie Conservation. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Can you explain to me how, do you have to dive down and remove it? I'm just kind of curious, and I'm sure other people are. It's to me, pulling is like pulling a weed in the garden, but you actually have to go down and dive down into the water to do that.
Yeah, our lake steward's going to love you because he says we're attending our aquatic garden. So you're exactly right. We have to do this on a consistent basis. There's multiple ways of doing it. One of the ways is to dive down. And Marianne and her husband did a ton of this. It can be exceptionally difficult and it's quite limited because you'll probably get to about the 8-foot level and safely pull it and then be able to bring it out. Another way that we have done it is taking, it's kind of archaic, but it's a fishing net. We put in 1/4-inch chicken wire. We wrap it around it. We put a spike on the front of it, and then we put it on a 10 or 15-foot pole. And so that you can go on a boat, has to be a stable boat. You don't want a board or something. You dive down or you push down and you get at the root, you lift it slightly and then you turn it. And the objective is to spin it so that you're capturing the entire weed into the net before you bring it up. Extremely labor intensive. I would say that people that are doing a great job at this might be pulling 40 to 50 plants in a 1 to 2 hour span. So it's very labor intensive. The challenge that we also have is that this weed's prime spot in our lake is 8 to 14 feet. And so you can get at the 8 feet fairly well. When you start getting into 10, 12, 14 feet, it's a very difficult challenge. And because we end up with fairly sediment bottom in a lot of these areas, it's easy to stir it up and then not see where the rest of the plants are. So there is not an ideal manual removal approach. You'll see as we've gone through this, between the board members and the volunteers, we removed over 1,000 plants this summer. And the test really becomes next year. We have a couple of areas where they were unworkable colonies. So we tried to go around the edge to see if we could prevent them extending. And in other cases, we were into the singles and into the sort of small groupings. And we cleared out large swaths of it in an area. So next year's the test. If it comes back significantly less than what we experienced this year, then we tend the garden every single year. If it comes back twice as much as it was, which is what our fear is, then these strategies aren't going to work. So it is a huge, huge amount of work. And it's also why we're looking at our long-term strategy. The reality is that there are the colonies that Marianne mentioned that are out of our control. None of these manual methods are going to work. There are vacuum boats, there are weed harvesters. Moira Lake uses a weed harvester. Each resident pays $450 approximately a year to have a 30 by 30 foot square in front of their cottage cut 3 times a year. But you're not actually preventing anything. You're potentially creating even spread that way. So we have to figure out what the long-term solution is because the short-term one is merely buying us time and as much as possible. Any other questions on?
Statistically speaking, how fast does it multiply? You mentioned, one could become a colony, but you really didn't put a time in there.
We're in the learning process for that, so I hate to sort of state a time. But what I can say that we've done this year, another initiative we did, is we actually did GPS mapping of the perimeters of every single one of our large colonies. And so we're going to be able to see whether or not we're actually experiencing growth and exactly how far that growth is taking place. But what I can tell you anecdotally for the areas that we cleared out this year, they are no less than double what we had experienced last year in these locations, because we had mapped out these individual places. So those small colonies are probably doubling quite quickly. I'm fearful of what the large colonies will do. What I can tell you is that I'm a fisherman. I've been fishing in the Scutamata River for years, and it has become almost unfishable in the last 5 years as a result of milfoil. It's simply too heavy to really work properly at all. So we are going to measure it. Any other? No? Okay. Next question. Sorry, the next slide, if you don't mind. We've done a lot of work on partnership development. The reality is we are a small organization, and so we're trying to increase our capacity. And we don't want to relearn things someone else has already learned. So as you'll see on here, of course, Addington Highlands has been a great partner for us. We hope to deepen and continue that relationship together. We have a good relationship with the Ministry of Natural Resources. Multiple people within our group are in fact from M&R as well. We have a lot of conversation with Conservation Officer and working with them. We're working with Watersheds Canada, Queenie Conservation, Ontario Fisheries Anglers and Hunters, or Federation of Anglers and Hunters, as well as a number of other lake associations. And in particular, now we're branching out and trying to connect and form partnerships with the other Addington Highlands lake associations in particular, because we recognize that the things that we are seeing are probably being seen by all these other lakes. And we can learn from each other, and we can probably create more lift and weight by working together on these things and find solutions that benefit multiple lakes and associations and areas as well. And of course, we're reaching well beyond Addington Highlands. We've been having conversations with almost anyone that seems to have any working knowledge of this and other type of issues that we're working on. We're kind of using it as a hub and spoke model. So we're trying to understand what the needs of our lake association and the environment around us are. We're trying to understand other like-minded partners, and we're trying to pull them all in together so that not only are we able to work with them, but we're cross-pollinating groups across organizations. And a prime example that we'll be talking about is really around deterrence and enforcement. M&R, OPP, Queenie Conservation, Addington Highlands, all have to work together. And we have had a number of significant issues on the lake that I consider close to tipping points, and I'm quite worried about next year. And so these sort of relationships and coordinating our efforts together to have much more meaningful impact, in particular on deterrence, are going to become very critical, or we're going to end up experiencing some things that none of us are very happy about. And of course, there's some positive relationship things in here as well, upgrading our fisheries and spawning beds and so on as well. Okay. I think that was it for more about this partnership.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. So what we wanted to explore today is what can we accomplish together? Our ask of council is, first and foremost, would you consider forming a small working group to create and provide a plan to council? So the working group could come together. I'm sure the group could have more creative ideas than I can share with you today, but it could be an advisory group to council to help us understand what can we do together? How can Addington Highlands help? And also advise the budget formation because all of it will, of course, come with some cost. So we talked about things we could do that might be easy around education and awareness. One of the things I looked at is the cottage kit. And it seems to me the cottage kit was put together primarily to address an issue around people who rent cottages and no one really understands how to manage the garbage and recycling. But think of how powerful that cottage kit could be if we expanded it to include education around invasive species. How about bylaws? I come across so many of our residents who don't know about bylaws around noise and fireworks. We could do other things like safe septic practices. People from the city don't really understand how to be careful using a septic system. And you could even extend that further to other environment and lake health topics built into this kit, maybe even around shoreline development, natural shorelines. So as opposed to just being of value to renters, I think it's a handbook that waterfront property owners would value because everything is in one spot. Oh, and by the way, if they do rent their cottage, they can use that to educate and make sure their renters are compliant with the things that are important to protect our lake health and our environment. So that was just one idea. It's just an idea. Could we create a flyer and hand deliver that to waterfront property owners? That might be one useful way to communicate and build that awareness and education. Could we create a calendar of electronic communication? The beauty of working with the township is you reach all property owners. We're talking about 200 members. So the calendar could be something like, certain times a year, the staff could issue communication around whether it's turtles, protecting turtles on the road, or whether it's loon nesting season, be careful when you're boating, boat safety practices. There's all kinds of things we could build into the communication calendar. And once we've built it, it's easy for the staff to use this calendar, and we will help build the content for that. I know I had expressed a concern about the county talking about our wonderful fishing and all these exciting catches, and Councillor Hook has been very helpful in raising that issue with Rob Plumley. I believe I have his name correct. And so we have written something that we would like to see profiled on the county website, which really talks about the importance of anglers following clean drain dry, and also fishing regulations. The counterbalance to all the exciting fishing stuff is anglers need to share the responsibility. And there's lots of other things. If we do that on the county website, can we profile invasive species on the township website, as well as newsletters and tax flyers, which we've started to do. So those were some of the education awareness things that we would love your help with in this working group. And Jeff, we'll get Jeff to talk about the deterrence and enforcement. He's done a lot of work thinking through that.
Thank you. One of our key challenges is we know that we're quite remote, and unless there's a safety issue or something in place, it's very difficult to get immediate responses to things. And therefore, our thinking is that we have to sort of up our level of deterrence that we're putting into place. I was saying we talked to a lot of people on the lake. I had a number of conversations this year with people that were on the lake that expressed to me that they were typically down at Bay of Quinte or one of these other locations. And because one, it's gotten busy, and two, because the enforcement is so heavy there, they've decided to come here. There is a general perception that there is no enforcement up on this lake. I heard that from many, many, many different sources this year. And based on some of the things that we're seeing on the lake, it's not hard to believe that that belief is out there. So there's multiple layers of this, the same way as other strategies been. One is just things that Marianne is talking about, communication. We have 3 public boat launches, 2 semi-public boat launches, and a private boat launch on our lake, more than most lakes around. And we have very little signage and very little control points. And so we would like, and I know we've started already working with the township to be able to build some new, more informative signs about the clean drain dry laws and where the sensitive areas are on the lake to avoid and what the implications are. But we also want to look at how do we collaborate across all of our partners to make a mark so people realize that this isn't just a wild west of a lake. So we have been working with M&R. We wish to work with yourselves, OPP, Quinte Conservation, and start to have some meaningful impact on perception out there. That if you're coming to this lake and you're not cleaning your boat properly and draining it properly, there is an implication to that. If you're not managing the fish stocks properly, our walleye population has significantly decreased, and there's a lot that are catching things out of the slot size. Camping, Crown Line camping, fires and fire bans, all these things are taking place. Stuff has been left on. I think you cleaned up Trails End and some of our back campsites for us because a couple of us went out and got piles worth of stuff off the sites. So our objective is to find out whether or not this working group could figure out how to help align these resources so that we can start to have a meaningful impact, recognizing we can't enforce it every day. We don't ever expect that. But we want people to realize that this lake does have rules and bylaws and that they are supposed to be enforced. And then there's some real long-term plans that we need to put in place. Other provinces have significant infrastructure in place for movement of boats and vehicles that are going near water. Proper cleaning stations, proper tagging systems, proper investigation systems. And unfortunately in Ontario, I think we have an opportunity to grow that as well. And I think between our work together and bringing in others as appropriate, we have a real opportunity to create a shift in the perception of what it's like to be up here and hopefully preserve what we all think is so special about this area for ourselves and our future generations.
Thank you.
Okay. Next slide. Sorry. So we wanted to be clear on our ask of council because we've kind of been around all the aspects. So we would appreciate agreement to do 3 things, and they're interconnected. Agree to form a small working group with the SDRA helping. We understand you have busy schedules, tight resources, and so we offer our help to build the content for that. And we're thinking too that we would love to extend the opportunity in the spring for whoever's interested to get out on the lake and experience what we experience. So you're always welcome to do that. So a small working group, we'd love your help collaborating on our application for a new ISAF grant because it just opened again. And I actually believe that one of the criteria for the new set of funding is evidence of community action. And I think the township working closely with the Lake Association can be an excellent example of how you really accelerate community action. Can be a really great example. And we would love to have Patricia's help looking over the grant application. We understand she's pretty good at that and giving us some advice. And last but not least, we'd like your help trying to raise the importance of aeration water milfoil within Ontario. So right now it's seen as a restricted invasive species, not prohibited, which limits the amount of funding we can apply for. The Invasive Species Center does therefore not see it as a priority species. So changing that, lobbying to get that changed would help us get access to more funds. Thank you. Any final questions?
Yes, go ahead, Ken.
Just to comment on the last part where we're lobbying the province to make the Eurasian water milfoil a priority. I think the best way to do that would be this municipality pass a resolution and forward it to all the municipalities and try and get other municipalities to support the resolution.
That's
Because we know the Phragmites has their own fund,
Mhm.
but Eurasian milfoil doesn't have a fund. It's kind of in with a whole bunch of there's hundreds of other species in there, right? Birds and insects and everything. So it really doesn't have much priority. So
You're right.
I think the only way we could do that would be to pass a resolution and try and get other township support.
I think another opportunity there would be to try and get an understanding of the potential economic impact. We don't really know what that is, but I know with your work with the ahead committee, maybe we can encapsulate that a little bit and use that as justification.
Would Marianne, you and Jeff be able to kind of give us some meat, I guess, for a resolution that we could consider at the council level, and then if it was approved? I'm not saying that the staff should write it because you guys are kind of the experts on the economics of it. If you were to provide some text that we could go over and then do a resolution from there, would that be in order?
Mhm. Yes, I think it would. Do you want to make a motion?
Yes, I would make that motion. And then second part of the motion, if I may, is to support the idea of a working group.
Yeah, so, and just to comment on that, we've had a number of working groups that in the past that they're there for a specific reason. They have a lifespan. They come, they go and deal with specific issues. So that's not an unusual thing to do. Yeah. So Councillor Hook, you're moving that council in approve participation in a working group. And that we are requesting SDRA to prepare some, I'm going to call it background or supporting information that would help us form a resolution that we would just make in the future. Got that captured?
Yep.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Yanch. Are there any other questions? We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yanch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. The other item was the grant you brought forward, was the grant application process. And Christine, or did you have any comments on that, us participating in that? Any issues with that? No.
No, not off the top of my head. It will depend on staff availability and timing, depending on, you said the application is open now, Marianne? Okay. Yeah, we can certainly make staff available should council wish to do that.
I think the issue here is just how much time would be involved. We're just trying to, the more work that SDRA can do,
Yeah,
it's more just the staff workload.
absolutely. And I guess the best way to answer that is we're willing to do most of the legwork. writing up the document and preparing it. I think what's most important is maybe having an eye for, how do you make this grant successful? From Patricia would be helpful. Certainly getting some insight into what the township can provide in terms of additional funding or in-kind donations. That would be helpful. And I think too, this whole concept of community engagement, it would be great within the body of that document to profile what we're doing together with our working group. That's my early thinking.
Go ahead, Patricia.
So just a comment on that, then that sounds fine to me, but if they were going to be looking at what the township can provide, and if it's due in January, we're going to want to be able to, if there's anything we need to run by council, have a draft of that for review before our last meeting in December, I guess, right, Christine, at least? Okay.
So that leads us to the question of when can you actually get your part of that done so our staff have ample time to look at it?
Considering I've known the grant is open for about 3 days now, I would say we can definitely meet that timeline to get it to Patricia to review well in advance of the next council meeting. Does that work?
Yeah. Can we have a motion that that we would assist in a review of your, can we phrase it that way? A review of your grant application that you will prepare and offer township input to it. Moved by Ken, Councillor Hook, seconded by Councillor Yance. Any other comments? We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Thank you. So you're okay with that? Okay. Is there anything else you want to bring up before we wrap up?
I would just like to say thank you very much for your ongoing support. We appreciate it. Do you have anything, Jeff?
No, it's great to get your support. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia, did you want to say something else?
The working group, is that a working group that we are organizing and pulling the members together and, or will the SDRA? Is this a working group that the township is organizing?
So a suggested approach with the working group is provide some input on who you think you would like the partners to be. And typically they are chaired by the township. It would be a working group of the township, but providing your input into it and maybe your idea of a basic terms of reference, because that would all typically be established for every working group. And essentially, what are they there for and what are they trying to accomplish and who do they consist of?
Okay, it would be very helpful to us to know if we have counselor and staff representation on that in terms of who's going to chair it.
Yes, typically we would have representation from council and we would have representation from staff on any working group. Yeah. We would keep the number of members of council to a minimum. Obviously, we don't want a majority of council, so it would be 1 or it'd be 2.
And how would you like us to respond to that?
I think I need
Letter.
a letter to our CAO.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, this was very informative and some very good, really good information. Obviously, invasive species, this one and many others are important to all of us, the preservation of I'm going to say it, our environment for the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we extend the invitation. Anybody wants to come out next spring and pull weeds, we're happy to provide the training.
Welcome. Take care. We don't need to. We don't. we have a motion to receive the presentation? Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Yantz. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook,
Yes.
and Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Thank you. Matters for consideration, 7.1, Quinte Conservation. Preliminary budget. There is a draft motion. I guess the question is, does anyone have comments or do you want to provide any input into it? No. Yes. Yeah, they were requesting, I think they were requesting comments, but I don't know. Does anyone have any comments they want to provide back to Quinte Conservation? Go ahead, Councillor Hook.
Well, I mean, the percentage increase of 6.5%, I mean, we don't like to see that, but you know, they have some good plans and I think they've been very helpful supporting the lake associations with the invasive species, and that mobile unit was quite helpful, and there was a way that we could participate as a township and help and do something. Otherwise, we were just kind of, we couldn't really do much otherwise. So I appreciate that support. And if you're looking for a motion to approve the, receive this and just to receive, okay.
To receive.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Hook to receive this, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any other comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
And Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. On to 7.2, the Flinton Recreation Club is asking for a noise exemption and some use of the township property for the event next year and the township logo for advertising. Several items in their request. Moved by Councillor
I'll make a
Thompson
motion to approve it.
to approve that. Second by Councillor Yantz. Any comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
That motion is carried. I should have asked staff, is there any concerns about the use of the property? I didn't think so. Thank you. Brett, go ahead.
I guess if we need this, any participation from the roads department, it'd be nice to know in advance, I guess, and to what extent would be my only comment, so.
So far, that's not part of the request, but to your point, we should anticipate that. There's always usually something. So when we provide approval of this, I'll forward that message along to them.
Thank you. So move on. 7.3 Denver Recreation Club. It's a request to participate in the annual Festival of Lights in Denby. So we have a couple, call them parades, but Christmas events coming up in the communities, one in Denby and one in Northbrook. So both typically involve the township participating. So does anyone have some input into that? I know it's not something that's been on our radar screen right now, but it's not far away. Do you want to?
Well, last year we decorated Henry's trailer, box trailer. And I think on there was a motion that the head committee was going to contribute to the budget, but we're going to get new decorations. So I'm assuming that's progressing in that direction. But do we have a trailer?
We're working on that as well.
Okay, so the answer is yes.
Yes, we're anticipating we'll be able to participate and in the floats and in both parades.
Yes.
And not only as with the head committee, but with any township staff and council as well as normal. If anything else comes up, then we can always look to see if we could use a piece of equipment is it a stationary parade as
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
we could always look for the roads department as well if something comes up at that point. But,
Yeah, so I know the one in
And
Denby
people are
last year,
available.
they had the trailer decorated and then they had the township backhoe decorated as well, sort of side by side. But, you know, there's. Any other questions around it? And I'm sure we can, there's always some members of council that'll be, if they're available, will get involved and help out, so. Go ahead,
That
Christine.
is actually an important piece of it, depending on, sometimes staff isn't necessarily available to decorate those floats. So, yeah, we would like it if some people volunteered to give some assistance with that as well. So that's the other piece
Yeah.
of it too.
So one option too is just put the net out a little bit into the community and ask for some help, because sometimes there's other volunteers around that would gladly come over and help for an afternoon or a morning, decorate a float, whether it's here or Northbrook or in the Denby area. Okay. Okay, does someone want to make a motion regarding participating in the Denby Recreation? Councillor Thompson. Second by Councillor Hook. Any other questions, comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Thank you. Next one is the Lions Club of Land O'Lakes for their annual Santa Claus Parade on November 22nd to participate in it. We've had a lot of this discussion already with the last one, so. We have a motion to move by Councillor Hook to
Motion to
participate.
receive, and I guess we will be participating.
Yeah. Seconded by Councillor Yantz. Any other comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yeah.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Christmas, lots of Christmas things. Next one is 7-5 Denby Recreation Club. It's a request for a number of things. So it's a noise exemption for their event, township assistance with loader backhoe to install this rather gigantic memorial tree. And then the other ones, I think that's the only one that involves any assistance. The other one is just to leave the lights on. Last year they were left on for about a month in the park. And then for the annual donation, which I believe is already in our grants section of our budget. Yeah. So someone
Motion to approve it.
moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Yantz. Are there any other questions, comments? None. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
That motion is carried. So the next one is 7-6, a resolution from the municipality of Blue Water seeking endorsement for their resolution urging the provinces of Ontario to immediately implement other service delivery models for the early childhood education, I'm going to call it sector. What would you like to do?
Make a motion to receive and support.
Moved by Councillor Thompson to receive and support. Second by Councillor Yantz. Any other comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
And Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. 7-7, it's Niagara Region seeking support for their resolution advocating the province support a coordinated approach between the Ministry of Health, some other ministries ready to address the ongoing challenges related to mental health, homelessness, and opioid addiction.
I'll make a motion to receive and support.
Moved by Councillor Yantz to receive and support, second by Councillor Hook. Any comments? No. Call the vote. Councillor Hook, Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Resolution 7-8 is from the Regional Municipality of Halton seeking support for their resolution calling for the policy considerations in future reforms such as bail reform, repeat offenders policy change and some better interagency info sharing in a nutshell. So
Motion to receive and support.
moved by Councillor Hook, second by Councillor Yantz. Any other comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. 7.9, a resolution from the town of Newmarket seeking support. It's really a request to continue allowing ASE, automated sort of speed enforcement, in school zones, and there's some other information to support that, but that's the thrust of it. Moved by Councillor Hook,
Motion to receive and support.
second by Councillor Thompson. Any questions?
Just a statement. I know there's a lot of people say it's just a tax grab, but it is a tool for municipalities to get people to slow down, particularly around school zones. And we know how fast people drive here. We don't have any of these cameras, but I mean, maybe one day we will. You know, recently we had people say they're speeding through Cloyne, speeding through Denby, Northwick, you name it. So I think it's a good tool as long as it's not abused. So I would support it.
Thanks. Any other comments? We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
The motion is carried. Resolution 7.10, which is the town of Flinton, I don't know if I say that properly, Wyoming seeks endorsement urging the province of Ontario to reconsider their fee freeze mandate and implement a funding framework. This is all related to conservation authorities, with the intent to try to reduce or not shift a financial burden to the municipal tax base.
I'll just make a motion to receive. The province of Ontario has changed the mandate of conservation authorities. So I think that we need to just sort of wait and see what's coming down. I sit on Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority, and we're just, they have received the information from the province, but we haven't heard officially what those changes are going to be. But one will be that it'll probably be, instead of having, I forget how many conservation authorities there are in the province, they're going to be reduced tremendously. So things could change.
There's a motion to receive. There's a seconder. Councillor Thompson. Any other comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Resolution 7.11 for the municipality of Brighton. Brighton seeks support for their resolution calling upon the province and federal governments to enact electoral reform. And
Make a motion to receive and support.
moved by Councillor Yantz, seconded by Councillor Hook. Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Hook.
This is the one that was just reported in the news that Addington Highlands is getting 2.3 million. Is that the right one? No, that's a different one. Okay.
No, this one, yeah, just this is strictly on electoral reform. Yeah, this 7-11. Not a problem. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yantz.
Yes.
That motion is carried. Yes. Next one is a 712 resolution from the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal seeking support of the resolution calling the Ontario government to extend the annual OCIF envelope. And then it goes into more detail. Did you want to comment on that, Christine?
I can maybe clarify for Councillor Hook. Councillor Hook, the one you're thinking of is the OMPF grant, the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. And we actually, it's going to be on the next agenda, but our allocation for 2026 is increasing by about $240,000 over last year. It's been fairly stable over the past few years, but the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund is different than that. It's not the same thing. That one, we get about $100,000 every year for that one.
Okay. Oh, did you have a?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that's the funding that we use for our surface treatment program usually. So
Yeah. Thank you, Brett. So, okay, go ahead, Councillor Hook.
Well, if this one is proposed to be end in 2026, we definitely want to support the continuation of it. So I would motion to support that one.
Motion to receive and support by Councillor Hook. Seconded by Councillor Yance. Any other comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion is carried. Get the right one here. Yes. Resolution 713, which is Municipality of Blue Water seeking endorsement for their resolution urging the government of Ontario to maintain climate change as a top priority. What's your wishes? Oh,
Make a
Councillor
motion to
Thompson.
receive and support.
Councillor Thompson, motion to receive and support, seconded by Councillor Hook. Any comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
No.
That motion is carried. Resolution 714, Municipality of Wawa seeks support for their resolution urging the government of Ontario to develop an accessible province-wide and publicly accountable alcohol container return system. What would you like to do? Councillor Yance?
This is really difficult, but I'm going to make a motion to receive and support.
Have a mover? Seconded by Councillor Hook. Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor.
I think the province needs more Lions clubs like the Land O'Lakes, and that's not really a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion is carried. So 715, the resolution from the Corporation of the Township of Stone Mills seeks support for their resolution requesting that provincial and federal governments establish a dedicated fund to assist municipal governments, private organizations, and property owners in effectively managing and removal of replanting of trees, all related essentially to the emerald ash borer infestation, so to speak. Councillor Yance.
I'll make a motion to receive and support.
Moved by Councillor Yance, seconded by Councillor Hook. Any comments, questions? For the vote, Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. 716, a resolution from the town of Bradford, West Gwillimbury seeks support for their resolution calling on the government of Canada to remove the GST HST from all new homes purchases, primary residence. Councillor Thompson.
Make that motion, receive and support.
Receiving support. Seconded by. No. Have a seconder? It's moved by Councillor Thompson. Is there a seconder?
You can comment on it.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Yance. Okay, comments?
I don't dislike the motion, although I think there probably should be some kind of a price in there. Like if somebody's going to buy a home that's $2 million, I don't really think they need to be exempt from the HST. However, if you're buying a starter home for like, I don't know if you can get a starter home for $70,000. Yes, they would. They should. So, I mean, if the resolution was worded differently, if it wasn't universal across the board, I would support it. But I think the very rich don't need a tax break there.
Any other comments? Councillor Yance.
And the GST, HST really is a moneymaker for the federal government. and provincial government as well. And those are our dollars that we get, hopefully somewhere along the line with some program. So anyway, yes, I will not be, I'll motion to, I guess Mr. Thompson has a, leave it at that.
Any other comments? So we have a motion to receive and support. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook,
No,
Councillor Yench,
No,
and that motion is lost. Thank you. Section 8 is matters for information. We have a motion first, then we can discuss it. Motion to receive all matters for information. Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Yench. Did anyone want to pull anything out of there to talk about? Go ahead, Councillor Yench.
yeah, the, just the county road highway 41 intersection improvement. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention in case they haven't seen it, on Facebook or whatever.
Thank you. Yes, it's great to see that project progressing into the design phase. So any other comments? We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
yes,
Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Reports of committees and boards, 9.1, no community control group. 9.2, the head committee, and then there's item under that, the barn quilt trail, location of township barn quilts. And Patricia, were you going to speak to that?
So just as outlined in the report, further to the update that was given on October 7th regarding the donation of the barn quilts that we received from Pat Dubick, for the proposed barn quilt trail, we now have to select locations for those 2 barn quilts that we have. Pat received the funding through the activation funding through the county, and she is promoting the barn quilt trail. Is designed to promote the barn quilts and draw people and visitors into the area and have a positive impact on economic impact on the area. There's 6 other panels as well that are being put up in different locations. And so we were to determine where we would put our 2 quilts, and these locations would all be shown on a rack card or a brochure that Pat will be designing. And that would have either the addresses or a QR code or something that would identify the locations for visitors to then follow the trail and go out and view those locations and see those quilts. So the 2 panels that were donated to the township, it's proposed that we would locate 1 in each ward. The panels are best displayed on a building. However, they can also be on posts. And Pat proposed a roof structure if it was going to be on a post. Staff have considered some locations owned by the township and recommend that it would be best on buildings rather than on posts to avoid vandalism. And we also looked at parking and visibility from the street when we were looking at the locations. The barn quilts are the ones that were presented to council and council chambers and discussed on October 7th and shown in the report in the 2 photos. The 2 locations that we were looking at are in Northbrook and in Denby. In Denby, we were proposing to locate it on the Denby Community Hall on the north wall facing Highway 28. and in Northbrook on the Northbrook Medical Center on the west wall facing Highway 41. Or if that didn't work out, we could also use the south wall of the medical center. There's a large opening there as well. The financial impact would be the responsibility of the township. The cost of installation has not yet been determined. So the resolution or the recommendation in the report, if council was amenable to these locations, would be to receive the report and approve those locations for the installation. The yellow and red and black barn quilt panel was recommended to go in Denby as the colors correspond with the playground, the newly installed playground in Denby at the Addington Highlands Community Center. And the other panel with the teal and red and black colors was recommended for the Northbrook location. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. Just, I had a couple comments just before we turned over the rest of council. Certainly on the Denby Hall, if you're down in the park in Denby, you cannot miss that hall. It's just very visible to you, and so it's not so much when you're driving by, but it's certainly where for anybody who's at a community event, you just can't miss the end of that hall. So it's probably going to grab your attention. And in Northbrook, you could see just a comment that the west wall may be a challenge just because of all the windows and the main entrance, trying to find something that doesn't, I'm going to say, that fits in and that you could appreciate being there. I understand why you're showing both walls, because the south wall maybe end up be the one that you end up using. So just a couple of comments. Any other comments on rest of council? Go ahead, Councillor Yanch.
Yes, I think you're so right about the Denby Hall. It's a perfect location. The Northbrook, I would personally, I would like the south wall. I think that'd be it would work very nicely there. Otherwise, it's kind of busy on the front of the building, and it might just maybe get overlooked just a bit, even though the colors are vibrant and whatever. So I would prefer the south wall.
Any other comments from council? Councillor Hook?
I think what Councillor Yance has said is good. There might be some input from staff like Jan Paul as well, that they may have a reason for not putting it somewhere. So I think we should just leave it up to staff, but yeah, favoring the south wall if possible.
So are you going to make the motion to approve these
approve.
At those two locations? Okay. Moved by Councillor Hook that we approve the location of the Denby Hall and the Northbrook Medical Center on either the south or west wall. Seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any other comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Councillor Hook?
Yes.
And Councillor Yench?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Thank you. I guess our committees. Anything from the library board? Joint Fire Committee? Nothing noted. Okay, we'll move on to reports of officers. Section 10 is for the manager roads and waste, and there's 3 different items on the agenda. Brett, you want to start off with your update?
Yeah, I guess we might as well start at the beginning there. So as far as the roads department's going, Upper Flinton Road ditching is continuing on the south end. We'll be doing some culverts over the next few weeks. We had both crews from Denby and Northbrook working down there. We're trying to get the gravel portion cleaned up before the snow flies. We did some brushing around Heritage Park with the excavator in Denby, and we since moved the the brusher to Copeland Lake Road to brush it out. And then we're going to move on to some other roads afterwards. Tower Road, I think, is the next one on our list. Grading is being completed throughout both wards as necessary and as weather permits. We haven't gotten a lot of frost yet, but so we've been able to try and keep up on the grading, and we'll keep on doing that until frost gets into the roads. We had a message about Simon's Bridge on the summer maintained portion of O'Donnell Road. There was a hole in the bridge, so we went to make temporary repairs to it. And I've notified the Snowmobile Club and the Trails Alliance about the hole so we can all prepare for more permanent repairs to the bridge. This may require complete reconstruction of the bridge deck, planking and railing system in the future. So our new plow truck has not been received yet, the second one. And our last projection was that it would be December or early January before we get it. I voiced my concerns to anybody that would listen to me about the delays in receiving the truck. And we'll have to move on from there. So it would be the last thing about the roads department, but I have one thing that's going to follow the West McCoon waste site. Winter maintenance RFQ went out and it closed on October 24th. Country Stone Landscaping and Excavating was the only contractor that submitted pricing, and they were awarded the contract. This should ease up on our hours of work for the guys. A lot of times you'd have to go over there on a Sunday to open the waste site up when they wouldn't necessarily have to be in that day. So it gives them a time to reset and that. So that's going to be done by a contractor this year. The pricing was similar to what it would cost us to do it. So we shouldn't see any difference there type of thing. So one thing I was going to add here under my roads department, I'm not sure whether council is aware, but the county has requested that we do our portion of County Road 41 for winter maintenance this year. So it's doable. We have trucks running down there at any time as well. It's just going to take some coordination to do it. I might have spoke out of turn, but I said that we have no problem doing it. It's got to be done, right? So we will be looking after the plowing and sanding of County Road 41 for our portion this year. As far as the waste department goes, roll-off truck's been down for some repairs. So we've got a subcontractor in to haul our recycling and waste bins. They've been very good with us as far as being able to get there when we need them. So it's worked out well for us using them. And our repairs should be completed shortly. So we can have our roll-off truck back on the road. And the other thing is our waste site cleanup is happening, and we're moving equipment around to get everything done and prepare for winter at our waste sites. So that's the end of that report. So
Thank you, Brett. I had a question, then we'll turn to the rest of council. So the County Road 41 south of Caladar, us doing maintenance, it's the same maintenance requirements as the other county roads we have, same hours type thing.
Yeah.
So it's not other than the additional labor hours, I'm going to say during the day, there's no other impact.
Yeah, that would be and Stone Mills has agreed to continue doing patrolling of it type of thing. So they'll notify us if they see something and we need to go out at a particular time or whatever. So they're going to keep an eye on that for us. We also monitor our weather stations as well. There's you might have noticed a new camera down at our turnaround there right under the power lines. So that'll give us a little bit of feedback as well. Yeah, so I don't foresee any issues with it. Yeah,
Councillor Yance?
Yes, how did this work before? Did Addington Highlands pay the county or to make sure that that road was plowed and sanded for us, or I'm not quite sure how the money angle, I'm sure that there was something, so we're just doing it ourselves now, so it'll be out of another pot that we're just not paying the county for.
yeah, the way it worked before is we would, Stone Mills did the actual maintenance of it. So they would submit an invoice at the end of the year and then we submit that invoice to the county. Basically, there was no money made or lost on it. So we just passed the invoice on to the county for that work that Stone Mills did on County Road 41. So.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Hook.
Just a comment on the brushing along the roads, in particular the Hughes Landing Road. It was, I thought, the best job I've ever seen done on it. Is that the new equipment that we have, or is that just a different operator? But it's farther back than normal and really excellent. So I just wanted to relay that along to the crew.
Yeah, that was using our tractor with the boom mower. We did have a bunch of repairs done to our boom mower over the last few years, so that's definitely helped with it. We have been experimenting with different operators. So they've all been doing a good job. It's been a combination of operators that have been in the unit. It hasn't been one guy in particular necessarily that's been doing it. So we're just trying to, honestly, with Hughes Landing Road is a good time to do it because the brush was relatively small and you're not getting into the big stuff where you have to try and demolish a bunch of stuff. So it's easier to do with the tractor at that time. When you get into the bigger stuff, it can look a little messier and as we probably noticed up at Heritage Park there a little bit, it looked a little bit messy, but once you get the grass growing up there next year, it's gonna look great up there. It's nice to have that opened up at Heritage Park for sure. So
I was just going to add the Jacks Bay Road was really well done too.
yeah, the guys have been working hard to try and get as much back, as far back as they can with a tractor without putting it in the rhubarb. So
Any other questions for Brett on this item? We have a motion to receive Brett's report. Moved by Councillor Yance, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Councillor Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Yance?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. So Brett, we're on to the next one, the Bridge Street culvert failure.
yeah, I'm sure, well, I know everybody's aware of the issues that we had with Bridge Street Culvert. I guess it's around October 19th. I got a call around 1 p.m. That the culvert had failed. I asked Dave to send me some pictures, and we decided to close the road for the safety of everyone. So we have our road closure trailers that were set up and at the main intersections to deter traffic from traveling Bridge Street. So we had one at the intersection of 41 and Bridge Street and one at the intersection of 28 and Bridge Street at that time. Hydro One was also called about the pole directly over top of the culvert. And as you guys are aware, I guess I tried to notify all the council of the situation. So October 20th, the culvert was reviewed and it was decided that we should get an engineer up to investigate. Arrangements were made for the engineer to come and review it with myself on October 21st. Then on the 21st, the engineer came up, he agreed. I kind of figured he was going to agree that it should be closed, but I wanted to get his opinion. And I attached his email with his recommendation to close the road there that we received on the 23rd. So I believe on Friday last week, temporary concrete barrier was brought in. Yeah, it was Friday morning. And and we closed off both sections of the road close to the culvert. So it gives us a little more freedom with the traffic coming in and out of the road. They can't go through, but at least they don't have as many obstacles to go in the road now. We also set up our PVMS boards to continue to give people a warning that the Bridge Street was closed, and that it should be only local traffic only. When I was talking to Jewel Engineering, I asked them to provide us a quote for engineering services. There's some work to do to get everything going and try and get it on our completion list for 2026. Get that culvert replaced. As far as the culvert history, Bridge Street was taken over from the provincial government when the bypass was built around the village in Denby. We've completed bridge inspections every 2 years. The last inspection was completed in 2024, and combined with the underwater inspection that was completed in 2023. As a result, the culvert was listed for replacement in the next 1 to 5 years. This bridge was ranked number 2 on our list of structure replacements with a cost of $1 million to do it. I think that's a little overzealous as far as the pricing goes, but that's what the engineer's cost was at our last bridge inspection thing. So I've also included our list of structures recommended for replacement as an attachment, so you can see it there. So I guess I'll mention my recommendation is that the council receives this report and approves Jewel Engineering to start the design work on Bridge Street culvert replacement. So, yeah.
Thanks, Brett. And I know there will probably, many of us will have some questions. I'm going to ask a question first that really isn't about the replacement of it directly, but is there any possibility, because it's cutting off a main thoroughfare, is there any possibility that that could be a 1-lane significantly reduced load limit on it, travel on, I'm going to say, so to speak, the good part of the culvert, I guess it's the east end or the better part of the culvert, until this thing is replaced, whether it's replaced in the near future or down the road. Is there any way that can be done? Because it's cutting off traffic to businesses, to a business, and this would not be for large trucks, it would just be for small vehicles. Is there any way that can be done or pursued or looked into to be done? I'm not sure.
I guess from our engineer's point of view, I think he deemed that the road should be closed. I can reach out to them and ask them whether a portion of the road could be left open, but I would be very hesitant to go against any of what our engineer recommends there. I realize that portions of it look like they're okay from the surface. It's different when you get down and stick your head in that culvert. And it's difficult to determine from, like, I've leaned over and looked in. I haven't walked through the culvert, but it's difficult to determine exactly where the buckling is when you're looking in from the ends as well. And the surface does appear better on the one side than the other for sure. But I would hate to go against anything that our engineer recommends, I guess. So I can, if you wish me to, I can go and talk to our engineer about that if that's.
Yeah, certainly would never recommend us overriding that type of advice we're getting, but at least the question be asked.
Yeah.
So we know we've touched that. Do we need a resolution for that, Christine? Yes. Someone want to make that for that part of it? There may be a few resolutions regarding this.
I'll make a resolution for that part, yes.
Okay, moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Hook. Any comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'd like to know is, do we have to go with an engineer? Like, this is an emergency. I'm not trying to override anybody. I've contacted a company and they can do it in no time to put a culvert in before snow flies. So my question is, do we need engineering and all this archaeological studies that they're talking and soil studies that they're talking? The culvert's been there for 40 years, I guess, since they did the bypass, 45, 50 years. But I mean, do we have to do that? Like did we not change the culvert on Rose Hill Road,
Yeah, we did.
which is
We did
comparable
better.
size?
It'd be smaller, but yeah, you're
It's
right.
a
So that's
comparable size, and we had no issues with that. So
Mhm.
even could we not do it ourselves? It's just a question. Like, I like to know, because we're
Yeah.
talking $1 million here. And I think that's craziness. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
I know you're doing what you have to do, and
Mhm.
you know, I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking, do we have to do what Jewel Engineering wants us to do, or can
Mhm.
we do it ourselves?
Mhm. I guess I can investigate that further. I don't wanna say that we can do something and then get in trouble for doing it, I guess is the best way to
Right,
put it.
and-
So, and
And so, like I'm saying, I'm sure, you know, we'd have to probably contact the Ministry of Environment, you know, with any issues they may have, but I mean, doing it this time, we don't have fish spawning, we don't have turtles laying eggs, we don't have birds nesting, we don't have anything that's going to hold us up till the middle of next summer, if we
Mhm.
can get it done this fall, but it's just my thought. I would like to
Okay.
think,
I can
that we could
investigate
do
that.
that, and if you want the names of the company, the guy I was talking to, I can, he said he'd come right down, take a look at it, and
Mhm.
they could do it, but
Okay. I can investigate, what are the other options are,
Okay.
and, report back to
okay,
council.
I appreciate that,
yeah.
Brett. Thank you.
You want to make a motion? Kirby, that,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to the effective
Yeah.
question I'd asked
Yeah.
Brett about exploring other options, whether we can do it ourselves or
Yeah.
through a contractor without going through all this rigmarole.
okay. Seconded by Councillor Hook. Yeah. Any other questions on that one? Comments? Go ahead,
I
Councillor Hook.
support Councillor Thompson's concern, because I agree, $1 million to replace a culvert just sounds ridiculous. And it looks like it's almost a wish list, the engineering report, like the archaeological study and stuff. It just almost seems like $76,000 is kind of a lot of money for something that is probably not needed. It would be okay if we had gobs of money. I know we budgeted for it, but it doesn't mean we have to spend $1 million, right? I'm sure there'll be many other ways to spend that budgeted money. So I know we have very competent staff that can do this. I can remember when the Hughes Landing Road was rebuilt. It was a non-engineered road and it's beautiful. So we have good guys that can handle the equipment, and the equipment is right there too. We don't have to have some group come in from outside and travel long distance and pay for the travel time. We've got the guys, we've got the equipment, and I think it's something we should really look at and save some big bucks.
Councillor Yatch.
And this is an emergency. You know, if this was on 41 Highway, the King's Highway, it probably would have been dealt with by now, and and there would be. So anyway, I agree with Counselor Thompson that if we can look at another avenue, that would be good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Oh, good. Wait, just a sec here.
Can I just have a clarification on the resolution, just to be sure I've got it right? That you're requesting staff to explore other options instead of, so you said all this rigmarole. Do you want me to say specifically instead of enlisting the services of an engineer? That's what we want to say instead of.
That would
okay.
be better, right? All right. When you grow up in the country, sometimes you just say things that are
I'm
quite.
usually good with rigmarole. I really am. That's normally fine.
Go ahead, Councillor Hook.
Just in addition to that, could we include not only sourcing out a contractor, but also looking at the possibility of using our own staff and equipment? Is that kind of your intent? Because I was
Yes,
kind of
whatever,
hoping we could do that
whatever
as
option
well.
we can do.
Other
If
options.
we can do it ourselves, if
Mm.
we're capable of doing it, I think we probably would have to rent a backhoe, a bigger backhoe, right?
Yeah, you might be able to do it with the equipment that we have, the excavators that we have. It might
Yeah,
take,
well,
might take
regard-
longer, but there'd be options
Whatever it
there, right?
takes.
So, yeah.
At the end of the day, whatever it takes to, whether it's a hired contractor or ourselves.
And the resolution is just to explore the options. So all of those options would be considered, and that's what Brett would bring back at the next meeting. Okay, is that okay?
Any other comments? No. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Yeah, so we also have, I'll just wait with that one. I have one more comment. So it all, I guess it comes down to timing, and I think sort of the consensus in the community, certainly, obviously, anyone use that road, is that the earlier the better. So there's a sense of urgency in their minds that that route is very important to restore as soon as it can be done. It is having a significant negative effect on the one business that's on the north end of the culvert, because it's cut off all the drive-through traffic. So, and we all understand that when you have a failure of a road or a bridge or anything like that, it is going to have an effect on businesses. However, just want to acknowledge that and so that we know it is having, and appreciate the fact that it is having a really negative effect on the business. Yeah. So that is a comment. Now, we also have a recommendation from Brett that we approve Jewel Engineering. So in this case, we would probably, maybe it's a resolution to defer that decision. What do you recommend?
Yeah, I think at this point, given the
Yeah.
previously adopted resolution, that we would just receive at this point the
Receive it.
report, and then we could always come back to it after.
Yes. Okay, Brett, and then would you be able to have, you would be able to have some information for the next council meeting? Do you think you could get back on the agenda then?
I should be able to have some information for the next council meeting. I don't want to guarantee
No.
it. It depends on how quickly I can get a hold of people and
Yep.
all that stuff. But yeah, I can probably have some information gathered anyways. So
And we all understand that.
Yeah.
You'll do what you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion to receive this report? Moved by Councillor Yance, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Councillor Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Yance?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And Brett, certainly want to pass on our thanks and appreciation to you and the staff, because they responded quickly. They did whatever they could do that day to make it as safe as possible. And we followed up and put permanent barriers into place, and we're looking at it. And I'm sure those roads fellows are facing some feedback themselves when they're making the routes or they're in public, because, yeah. the same comments we're providing. So thank you. Do you want to go ahead, Brett?
Just one other thing, the fire department was heavily involved in that too, so thanks for their help to make sure things were safe until we were able to close the road down, so, yeah.
Great point. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 1013, which is Bridge Street resurfacing. Do you want to speak to that, Brett?
Yeah, I had a few questions about Bridge Street resurfacing this year. We put double surface treatment on it after we pulverized it. Bridge Street was a provincial highway up until the bypass was built, as I mentioned before. The only roads that are paved in the township currently, or what I guess was Bridge Street, Redford Drive, which was another provincial highway, and Addington Road 1 was a provincial highway at one time too, down here towards Caladar. So we haven't done any work on any of those roads since we've taken them over as far as resurfacing. We went to the surface treatment on Bridge Street because it was similar to our other streets that we have in the township. We don't have any other roads that are paved, so we thought, let's be consistent throughout the township. The costs are a little bit cheaper for surface treatment. And the traffic counts and the vehicle weights seem to allow for surface treatment at those locations. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of explanation. I know council's been receiving some feedback about the surface treatment on that street. I know when you do surface treatment, there is a lot of stones that kind of float there for a while until things get packed in. But if you drive over it now, it's a lot better than what it was at the right after it was done for surface treatment. There's not near the float or anything. And this spring we'll be sweeping it. So there'll be more float any of the additional float that's left there will be picked up. And Bridge Street will be similar to streets here in Flinton, the other streets in Denby and Northbrook, and some of the surface treated roads in Cloyne as well. So they'll all be similar. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of feedback on what we had done and the reasoning behind it. So
Thank you, Brett. And so we had a very dry summer, so everywhere was dusty, but that was the most significant complaint to start with. It was clouds of dust with people driving through, and it just covered anybody's vehicles or fronts of their houses that they happened to be close to it. So they became very frustrated. Also, obviously, we recognize the cost difference, and just roughly that would $170,000 difference would be, well, it'd be roughly 4% of a levy, so 4% on a tax bill. So it increased if you had paved it. So trying to put that whole thing in perspective. Yeah. Any other comments on that? Questions? Thank you, Brett, for putting the report together. Much appreciated. So we have a motion to receive this report by Councillor Yanch, seconded by Councillor Hook. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yanch.
Yes.
That motion is carried. Item 10.2.1 CBO report.
Yes.
David.
Good afternoon, everyone. CBO report, building activity has been busy during September, October period. 25 new permits have been issued in the last 2 months. Very good news and indicates a positive outlook for next year's building activity. And quite a few of those have been homes, so I'm quite delighted to tell you that. Reminder to all that projects with no construction activity over the last year represent concerns, and a building permit may be canceled due to inactivity. That is right in the Ontario Building Code Act. So please give me a call and update your construction outlook going forward. Typically, what I do at the end of every year is send out a letter asking for building activity and why perhaps there's been such a lapse. That's always been one of my forward ways of finding out, are you continuing? Are you discontinuing? What's going on? Kind of keeps everything current. So I just asked everyone, anyone who has let their building activity lapse will be receiving a letter here in the next month or two. And there are a few of those. Facilities report, moving on. We've completed the Denby rink painting. That was, we had our groundskeeper go in that direction and did a very, very wonderful job, I must say, or at least I thought he did a great job painting the outdoor rink there inside and out. It looks great. It looks great. The canopy area in the south of the act there is now finished. Minor flashing had to be installed, and that has now been completed. I'm reminded that there's a little bit of caulking left to do by our contractor. He said he will get on that. We have a facilities maintenance program in place, and that is now underway. We typically have farmed out the maintenance on 3 facilities: the Flinton Hall, Northbrook Medical, and the ACK. And I just find that it's very beneficial to have a proactive approach and get ahead of some of these mechanical breakdowns if we can before seasons change. So that is, most of that has been completed actually, and doing a very good job. The contractor that we have completing those maintenance repairs, so forth. Floor at the canteen building, Heritage Park, has been resurfaced. That is the interior area of the canteen building. Don't let the reflection bother you. You may have to wear sunglasses when you go in. Just, but it looks great. I think it looks great. Concrete base at the Northbrook Medical Center under the canopy has been removed, and the new base has been installed. You're going to see there are a few bricks missing out of the wall. That's slated to be repaired and put back together Thursday morning. So I want that done before winter sets in here. We're going to run out of time. A few other projects. Denby Hall flooring project will begin in November. We've already we've got the contractor and have had him for some time. He's just kind of pushed it maybe down the road a little bit, but tells me he will be investing in that project in November. Electrical work at the Denby Hall will start in a couple of weeks. We've had a few issues up there with not enough receptacles in the walls, a few things in disproportionate places, and just a few hiccups that just need to be dealt with. So we've lined that up with an electrician, and he told me that he would be involved in that in the next couple of weeks. Signs around the playground here in Flinton have been installed advising there is no motorized vehicles allowed in that area. And that's specifically designed around the fact, or put in place around the fact, that through the entire summer, the summer season, people had been using motorized vehicles, little motorcycles, four-wheelers, making their way back there. We have a septic bed back there. We have a septic tank back there that has risers on it that prevent that really create an opportunity for a fatality. So we put those signs up back there. I typically tape it off a little bit too if we find people disrespectful as far as snowmobiling across it, because it just can't be done. That's just too much life safety risk there. So please, for those who would like to go back there, park it in the parking lot and walk back. That's what the parking lot's for. Bylaw enforcement, there have been very few bylaw complaints in the last 2 months. For individuals who would like more information on our dog bylaws, chicken bylaws, please give me a call, and I'll be sure to update you on that. Really, really nice to see not as many dog incidents taking place. I've done a few vocal, or I've given a few vocal responses to seeing the odd dog walk the roads. And they just simply didn't know that they couldn't allow their dogs to walk along the roads without being on a leash. So there we have it. That's my report. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Any questions for Dave? Thanks very much, Dave.
I'll have time in the
Thanks.
future if you want help doing that bridge.
Yeah.
Or I mean that culvert. No.
Lots of things going on. So we have a motion to receive David's report, moved by Councillor Hook, second by Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that vote is carried. Thank you, David, once again. CO Clerk Treasurer, Planning Secretary, Shoreline Road Allowance, item 10.4.1. Patricia?
Thank you. So we have an application to purchase shore road allowance. Property owner is Eleanor Grinnell. Property located at 1691B Hughes Landing Road. It's described as Plan 703, Lot 120 in the geographic township of Anglesea, located on Scutamata Lake, and more particularly described as parts 2 and 3 on this sketch that was attached to the report. According to the application that was provided, there is a dwelling with a wraparound deck, and a gazebo and a bunkie encroaching on the shore road allowance. The applicant is proposing to purchase the shore road allowance in order to build an addition on the cottage. We have circulated the application notice to Public Works Canada, Hydro One, and Bell Canada. All three agencies have responded and have no objection and require no easements with respect to the application. The adjacent landowners to the east and to the west, Elkenbracks to the east have consented, and Ubens to the west have already purchased their shore road allowance, so we have no concerns in that regard. The recommendation with respect to the application is that as the dwelling and wraparound porch and gazebo and bunkie are located on the municipal shore road allowance, and the applicant wishes to obtain title to the property and further intends to construct an addition, and further that the municipal shore road allowance has been closed, stopped up, and sold elsewhere on Scutamata Lake, it is recommended that it be resolved that the report prepared by the Deputy Clerk Planning Secretary regarding the purchase of the shore road allowance submitted by Grinnell be received, and further that the municipal part of the municipal original shore road allowance abutting Scutamata Lake and road allowance created by registered plan 703 lying in front of plan 703 lot 120 in the geographic township of Anglesea be declared surplus to the township's needs, and further that the closure and sale to the abutting landowners Grinnell be approved in principle pending staff review of the draft survey once completed. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. Any questions for Patricia? Councillor Hook?
The proposed addition, would that be encroaching closer to the lake or adjacent to the lake? And even though they may own the shoreline road allowance, if they purchase it, we still have requirement of setback, correct?
Correct. So even though they are proposing an addition, they would have to, they could only maintain the current setback. They could not encroach any closer. Their plans are not concrete yet is exactly what they're doing, but they do understand they could not encroach any closer than what is existing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So the recommendation, there's two recommendations there, one to receive it and one to approve it. We can do them both together. Yes. Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Yance. Call the vote. Counselor Thompson,
Yes.
Counselor Hook.
Yes.
Counselor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Thank you. Then 10.4.2, another shoreline road allowance application under Suddick. Patricia?
Thank you. Yes, this application was submitted by the landowners Deborah and William Suddick. The property is located at 431 Oberon Point Road, described as Judge's Plan 943, Part Lot 3, RP 29R 2279, Parts 2 and 5 in the geographic township of Anglesea, located on Scutamata Lake. They have applied to purchase shore road allowance lying in front of their property, more particularly described as Part 1 on Plan 29R 6853 on the sketch attached. According to the sketch provided in the application, their dock is encroaching on the shore road allowance. They are proposing to purchase the shore road allowance to build a deck on the existing dwelling. The application was circulated to Public Works Canada, Hydro One, and Bell Canada. All three agencies have replied and have no objection and require no easements with respect to the application. The adjacent landowners to the south, Thompson, and to the north are Bleecker. Both have consented to the application, and there are no requirements within that regard. Similar to the last application, as the dock encroaches on the municipal shore road allowance, and further, the applicant proposes to buy the shore road allowance to build a deck on the existing cottage, and further, the municipal shore road allowance has been closed, stopped up, and sold elsewhere on Scutamata Lake. It is recommended that it be resolved that the report prepared by the Deputy Clerk Planning Secretary regarding the purchase of the shore road allowance submitted by Suddick be received, and further that it be resolved that the municipal shore road allowance abutting Scutamata Lake lying in front of Judge's Plan 947, Part Lot 3, RP 29R 2279, Parts 2 and 5, more particularly described as Part 1 on RP 29R 6853 in the geographic township of Anglesea, be declared surplus to the township's needs, and further that the closure and sale to the abutting landowner Suddick be approved in principle.
Thank you, Patricia. Any questions for Patricia? Ken, go ahead.
The same question on this application. The owner is aware of the deck cannot be encroaching on the lake as well, right? So they're aware of that?
Yes, they are, and I'm just trying to refresh my memory on exactly what their application looked like as far as the deck is concerned, but certainly will require that they meet all requirements of the zoning bylaw, and if any necessary minor variances are required, they'll have to go through that process. I can't recall off the top of my head exactly where the deck was going.
I don't know. I don't know the property. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So there's two recommendations. They're moved by Counselor Hook, seconded by Counselor Yance. Call the vote. Counselor Thompson,
Yes.
Counselor Hook.
Yes.
Counselor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Item 10.5.1 is from the Health and Safety Coordinator, harassment in the workplace, a draft updated policy. Looks like, Christina, if we're going to add to it, looks like there's just one section being added to it under workplace sexual harassment. Did you want to speak to it?
No, not necessarily. You're completely correct. Changes to legislation require that this additional clause be added to our policy, and that's just a reflection of that.
Any questions? We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Counselor Thompson, second by Counselor Yance. Call the vote. Counselor Thompson? Counselor Hook?
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Yance?
Yes.
That motion is carried. And thank you to Tanya. Reports of appointees? No. No reports, no resolutions, approval of the accounts. So the first one is 13.1, approval of the accounts as of October 15th, 2025. Moved by Counselor Yance. Second by Counselor Thompson. Any questions? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance, and that motion is carried. 13.2 is approval of the accounts as of October 31st, 2025. Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Hook. Any questions? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Member statements. Only been one member statements. It's a marathon meeting. We thank you for your perseverance.
I just,
Go ahead, Councillor Thompson.
I think, back at 10.6, you missed
Did I miss something?
fire chief.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Sorry, Casey.
That's okay. I should be apologizing for not having a report in, but October became a bit of a fire flap. It got a little busy for a while there. But things are quieted down now, knock on wood. Our firefighter one course has been completed. They wrote their exams a week ago Sunday, so wait for the results from those. We got a great group, and we ended up one day pulling them out of class because they had their firefighter, their SP 103, their wildfire course in the spring, and they've been helping with wildfires all summer. And one day there, we needed them. So, yep, no, that's going good.
Great. Thanks, Casey. Any questions for Casey? Great. Thank you. Sorry I missed that one. Item 15, any new business? Yes, Councillor Hook.
Actually, I was going to go back to member statement, if I may. A few days ago, Deputy Reeve Fritch and I attended a funeral for Clayton McEwen, past warden of many years at County Council and past Reeve of Loyalist Township. I mentioned, we were talking on the way home, and I noticed there was a chain of office there by the county of Lennox and Addington, a chain of office, I think, from one of the townships. And I wonder if council would consider that we investigate the creation of a chain of office for Addington Highlands. I know North Frontenac has one. Jerry literally wears it at his council meetings. Even previous to that, North Frontenac had one for the former Barrie Township, and that's being proudly displayed in the Harlow Hall because Tom Neal was Reeve forever and ever and ever, I think. So I just thought this would be a good time to bring it up because we lost a Reeve that has served many, many years, and it would be a nice memorial to have a chain of office, and Henry would be very prominent on that, and it would just be added to each election. So I just thought if council would consider it, I would make a motion that staff could, I don't even know where you get one, but I'm sure we could find out. I would make a motion that staff investigate that.
Great. Moved by Ken, seconded by Helen. Any comments? That certainly worth finding out a lot more about. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
And Councillor Yant.
Yes.
That motion is carried. And I'll go down to, I think I missed anything on this. Bylaws 16.1, which is a bylaw to authorize the assumption and operation of the Glenfield Cemetery. I'll give it 3 readings.
I'll give that 3 readings.
Councillor Thompson, Councillor Yance. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And of course, David, that'll be some more work for the groundskeeper up there. Okay, so yes, next item on here is a closed meeting. So pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, this part of the meeting will be closed to the public in order to adopt closed meeting minutes, receive an update containing personal information about an identifiable individual, more specifically a township employee, and to receive an update regarding litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality. So can we have a motion to go into close? Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Yantch. Call the vote, Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Councillor Book,
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried, and we will take the steps to go into closed meeting. Closed meeting was held today pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act as amended, at which recommendations were made to adopt the closed meeting minutes of October 7th, 2025, to receive an updated containing personal information about an identifiable individual, more specifically a township employee, and to receive an update regarding litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality. We have a motion that the recommendations from the closed meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Yance, second by Councillor Hook. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Confirming bylaw. 3 readings by Councillor Yance, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Yance. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating in this marathon meeting. The meeting is adjourned.